Hey folks, we're back here at Medieval Times here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We had so much fun last week that we decided to come back for some more medieval action.
That's right. Sir William, the master of the horses, is going to take us behind the scenes for some really exciting action. So don't take that saddle off just yet.
Stay tuned for more exciting horse tales.
With me now is Sir William, master of horses. Sir William, I have been very impressed so far. You got a couple of your knights out here working your horses.
A couple of the beginner knights here that are learning ground driving right now.
Okay.
That's what we're working on. One of many things that they got to learn here at Medieval Times as far as their horsemanship goes is basic controls. Basically just to make them move forward at a steady pace. They got to be able to turn as they've been asked to turn. Then we'll increase that up a little bit. Now Brad, as you come around, go down the wall in red, half pass along the wall. So we start adding a little bit more technical stuff to it. Once they've learned to be able to trot the horse and move him forward now, you'll watch he'll bring his haunches in and half pass down the wall here.
Well, tell the folks this horse's name.
Do the same thing.
Tell the folks about this horse, the individual horse's name. And
this is Iberico is the first horse here, and then Valiente is our second horse.
Okay.
Both horses are purebred Andalusians. Mm-hmm. Good, Esteban. Straighten them up. Okay, Brad, come down center line. And as you get to the center, half pass over to red there.
So when you're saying half pass,
yep, a half pass is a half a step forward for a half a step over.
Okay.
So if he does it correctly, there he goes. Come on, keep him up, not too fast. That's it. And here Valiente will do the same thing. And as you see, this horse is very on the muscle right now. He's very powerful, willing to do anything, sometimes willing to do too much.
Right. Just magnificent.
A little bit of haunches in this side. Everything you do with them, you always should be able to do them on the right side and the left side. You shouldn't, you know, you got to keep the horse balanced.
Horses are left-handed and right-handed, right?
Right. Well, just like we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unlike us, they have to learn how to draw and write with both hands in that aspect. They need to learn how to carry themselves the same way and balance both directions that they go. So.
And well, these horses were bred on y'all's ranch in Texas, is that correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yep.
And how long?
Now, oh, go ahead.
And how long have they been here in Myrtle Beach?
Both of these horses have been here since I've been here for 9 years now. Valiente, I think, had just gotten here prior to me coming in here. So.
Well, tell the folks right quick, you're from California, correct?
Yes.
A little quick history about yourself.
Born in California, learned my horsemanship there. I got lucky enough to study under a man named Glenn Randall, who was the original trainer of the Ben-Hur horses, all three triggers for Roy Rogers, and a lot of movie horses.
Wow.
Black Stallion, all that. He and his son done all those major movie picture business, or major movie horses you've seen. That's who I got the luckiness of learning how to train and learning how to.
So how many years were you with him?
Only 3 years, unfortunately.
Only 3
I would
years.
love to have had more. But yeah, that's kind of where I came from, or started out, and I trained horses for privately for about 14 years out there. Somebody told me about Medieval Times. I came, checked it out, hired on there. 6 months later, they sent me out here, and I've been here for 9 years.
These horses
Since
are
then.
truly athletes. I mean, I'm just really impressed with where they move.
Brad, go ahead and take him on the back. Esteban, collect him up. Let's see a little bit of passage. We'll show you a little bit more elevated training here. Getting that correct collection. Got to keep your forward though. Don't lose your forward.
What's this move here?
Easy. A passage, which is piaffe is a trot in place, and passage is the animated trot, slowly moving forward. There you go.
Well,
As you see, it takes a lot of contact with the hand and a little cue with the whip to get it all correct, and without the horse quitting on you or doing what he wants to do.
Right. Well, I was reading up on Andalusians last night, and that page is well worn. Magnificent would be the word I'd use for these horses. Magnificent.
It's a great breed to work with. They're, as you see, this horse is a little bit on the hotter side. So it kind of mixes between your Arabs, your hotter bloods, your thoroughbreds, and your cooler quarter horses, and that's what you get is Andalusian. You get something that's smart, quick to movement, but not usually goofy smart or goofy energy, you know.
Well, y'all use all stallions or geldings in your shows. That's correct.
Yes, all male horses.
Reading up about medieval times, they rode only stallions in the battle and stuff like that. I found that really intriguing and everything.
No, there's a certain amount of what would be the word I'm looking for? Charisma or just power that the stallions have.
Well, I ride a stallion hunting and stuff like that, and I had a young friend of mine said, riding a stallion is different. And I said, I didn't really understand that. And after I rode mine and go back, it is different. A different presence, a different feeling.
Yes.
And they have a different mindset.
Well, yes, they're aware of a lot more than what like gelding would typically be aware of as well.
I'm glad I'm a stallion.
That's right, that's right.
So William, what we got here?
This is a Frisian Morgan cross, and this is my assistant Amy. She is riding Phantom is his name.
Phantom.
And he is basically her high school horse, which when she's filling in my spot, this is who she uses for her ambassador routine that I did. He does also does our long lines. You saw him earlier do the center line stuff. He does piaffe, passage, Spanish walk, and later on she'll demonstrate the levade and a few more of the high school moves that she can do with him. And then right back here is Tom, and Tom is on an Andalusian. Voluntarioso is his name. As you see, he's in a hackamore now. We've got one thing about the Andalusians is they tend to get melanomas, and he has a couple of them in his mouth. So rather than to keep agitating that, we've switched to a hackamore, which is very unusual for what you'll see this horse do. This horse does all the high school moves in his hackamore. So it's fairly new. He's only been doing it for 4 months now. 4 or 5 months. Yeah, about 4 or 5 months now. He's been working on the hackamore. Been coming along very good. All right, guys. If you want to go to the rail, it'll walk.
Well, Sir William, some of your responsibility is not only training the horses, but evaluating them, the length you're going to use them here, or do you need to graduate them or move them around or whatever?
Ideally, once I get them, I keep them. Ideally.
Okay.
Unless the castle runs a need or short for something, then they'll come and maybe get one from me or from another castle. But typically, when we get one in, I can keep them here. Now, figuring out what kind of job they're best at, that's a whole nother game there. We work a lot on starting them out, like we'll talk about the new babies that we got back here. I don't know for sure what they're going to do yet until I start working with them.
Right.
Once I start working with them, I'll find out what more of their natural. If things come out naturally, it's a lot easier to train than having to force them to do something that doesn't come naturally.
Just by meeting you, I think you're very hands-on, and watching you a while ago ride, so you teach what you know.
I try, yes.
Yeah. So you know what you're talking about. I saw that real quick. What color would you call that a black with bay points?
That's a good way to put it. Little steel brown mixed in there. He's faded a little bit.
Right.
And it must be the Morgan coming out.
Yeah.
The Frisians are black. Now these horses do work hard. So the hardest thing with a black horse is the amount of sweat that they do. When they sweat out, they're going to bleach a little bit usually.
Well, most of the Andalusians, your grays, they born dark and turn gray as they get older.
They're born black.
No, excuse me.
They're born black.
Okay.
And yep. By the time they're roughly 10 years old, they'll be all gray or white, as we might say.
Takes them that long.
Yeah, roughly. Most of them. I got a couple of them. I got one that's probably 7 and he's almost all white.
Right.
And then I got one that's almost 9 and he's still got a lot of gray to him. So.
Well, all of us horsemen have our favorite horses. Do you have a favorite horse here at Medieval Times?
Oh, well, you know, the horse I ride mainly is probably my most favorite.
Right.
Citrino is his name. And I've spent, over the 10 years, I've spent almost all 10 years with him. So, yeah, that horse and I've gone through a lot. Hopefully I've taught him as much as he's taught me, because he's taught me a lot.
You let anybody else ride him?
Not anymore. I did. Actually, Tom rode him for a while for me. In order for me to have a day off, I'd have to have somebody else ride him, but I try not to. I like to keep them at the high school level. They're very, very personable, so you got to keep your cues and feeling in your hands as much to you as possible.
Right.
Hello, this is Sir William from Medieval Times. Stay tuned for more horse tales after this. And hup! You get right in here. Have you been up next to a horse walking on his hind legs like this?
Awesome.
Good boy.
Whoa. You wait till DP sees this.
And this here is Sox. He is a Majorcan. Comes off the little island off of Spain, Majorca. And that's what they're bred for, is the airs above the ground. And they do the fancy moves like that.
And you had mentioned you've been working with him how long?
I've had him 8 years that I've been here, and it's probably taken a good 5 years to get that down solid.
So much under control. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm kind of like the Terminator. I'll be back.
Awesome. We'll be here.
With all the different tack and armor they use here at Medieval Times, that brings us to our tack tip of the day.
Hello, I'm Julie from the Wild West in Conway, South Carolina. The tack tip today is how to properly measure your horse for a winter blanket. First, get you a nice measuring tape, and it's easier if you have a partner. Center your measuring tape in the center front of your horse's chest. Then take your measuring tape and run it down the side of your horse, down, back around to the center of his tail. That way you will have the proper measurement for your horse. Then you know what size blanket to get for him. Then you get your blanket and you roll it up so that the front of the blanket is on the bottom, and you roll from the back to the front. Then you can pick it up and lay it across the center of your horse's back and place the center front up on the center front of your horse, and then you can just pull it and put it down over your horse and buckle it up, and you'll have a nice fit for your horse, and he'll appreciate it this winter when it gets really cold. Thank you. This is from the Wild West in Conway, South Carolina at 843-347-9378, or you can contact us on our website at wildwestmyrtlebeach.com.
Joining me now is Mark, who is the head knight here at Medieval Times. And tonight you are the Green Knight, is that correct?
Correct.
Which is the villain?
Yes, I'm the bad guy.
Now, do you always play the bad guy?
No, being head knight, I need to know all the roles in the show. I got to be able to teach it as well as be able to perform each color night in the show.
And so who teaches you how to do all of that?
The head knight at the time, 1995, was a man by the name of Victor de Lara, who was one of the original knights from Spain back in the 70s. He's a corporate horse trainer now, but he taught me back in summer of 1995.
Wow, okay.
Began my training then.
Okay, and so what do you do to teach the knights what they do during the show?
Well, the fights may or may not obviously be choreographed. To me, it's obvious. Hopefully to the crowd, it's not. But there are steps along the way of each fight. You know exactly when somebody's striking, when they're blocking, when they're cutting, jabbing, chopping, whatever it happens to be. So the first thing you have to do is learn the choreography of a particular fight. and each fight has its own sequence of strikes and blows and blocks. So that's the first step.
Okay. And there's a lot of jousting, and then I saw people falling off the horse, but that's called a stunt dismount. Is that correct?
Yeah, or what we call a joust fall, a stunt fall. Yes, ma'am. Exactly. Well, you know, people pay to see knights joust, and in real medieval times, people were knocked off their horse. So we try to simulate it as safely and as accurately as possible. So I have to teach the knights how to and when to throw their shield and their lance, and how to properly dismount the horse, land, and then convert all that energy, because we're going about 20 miles an hour when a horse is running down the rail, and he has to dissipate that energy without getting hurt himself. We do shows, we do over 300 shows a year, so we have to do it in a safe manner possible to keep everybody healthy.
Right. All right, Mark, can you tell me a secret? Do you win or lose today?
I'll tell you this, I always win.
All right, there you go.
Blair, I'm not joking around. I had a great time today. Folks, there's a big billboard coming into Myrtle Beach. If you only see one show, but I'm going to tell you, the PD Cowboy puts his signature on this one. Medieval times. I felt like a kid today, folks. I really did. I had a great time. The horsemanship of the guys were great. As you can see, I'm at a loss of words. So I'm going to kind of turn it over to Blair. Blair, what kind of time did you have today?
I had a great time as well, and watching my dad, we were here with a bunch of middle school kids, and I thought he was a middle school kid himself. Thank you so much to Jennifer Willard, Sales and Marketing Manager here at Medieval Times, for letting us come today. We just had a blast.
And Mark Casarello, the head knight, was great. The stories he told me about how he worked his way up was just very inspiring, it really was. And Bill Dewar, which he's the master horse trainer, it showed him what they did today.
So guys, please be sure to come check out Medieval Times the next time you're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and be sure to check out horsetales.tv.com. Also check out our Facebook page, and we're now on Twitter.
Oh yeah, Blair, I about forgot. What do you get when you cross a medieval knight and a cowboy?
Well, gee, I don't know.
A knight rider.
Ha! So funny, another one of your jokes.
That's right. Well folks, until next week, keep your reins low and your hands quiet.
See you next week.